For centuries, since the beginning of time, some things are beyond legend. Right before your eyes.
To find the one who can save the human race.
To keep us safe.
To protect the city. To save them. To save Earth. To save the world. With a destiny so strong. There's only one woman.
There's only one hope. There is only one.
She has been chosen for the better, for good,
for honor, for hope, for justice, for liberty.
One decision, one leader, one weapon. Only one will rule them all. Sensational. There's only one woman to save the world.
Greetings to all listeners. You are all tuning in at 93.5 KFH Radio, your sovereign station. And to those you may have question or pangutana, you may contact us on our telephone number 2254719. Akong balikon 2254719. And to those who have mobile 0935-811-4812, 0935-811-4812. And now I would like to greet our Queen, Her Royal Majesty Queen Salvacion Legaspi Espiritu Santo, and greetings to Sheriff Fanny, to Baidikay, and to all the staff here in the castle. And also special greetings to our Ambassador Haron from Singapore, and to Major Ronnie from Uzami City, Dato Glenn from Negros. No, greetings to all of you for being in our program today. And now I will give the line to our Queen, Her Majesty. Good afternoon po.
Okay. Thank you. Greetings. Greetings. 9.5 FM, Sovereign Station. Right now we are here, KFH Live 93.5. And we have quite a few guests right now today. Maraming salamat. And we have also our guests from Singapore. We have Ambassador Harun of Singapore, who is our guest. But before we proceed, we will have Baidikay get the intro for our program today. Baidikay, take it away.
Thank you so much, the Majesty, and good afternoon to you, Queen Salvacion Legaspi Espiritu Santo. So we are now live again in this new time slot, 2 to 4 p.m. today. It's not a very good day. It's cloudy, and some other places here already rain, no? So maybe we were experiencing a difficulty in signal, but it's okay. So to this afternoon, we will have our very important information. So we will discuss it later. And good afternoon once again to the Majesty. And also to King Hans, thank you for that introduction. Good afternoon, Bai Sheriff Fanny. And also to Dato Glenn, good afternoon, and our very own Ambassador Harun Amino Rasied Abdul Rahman from Singapore. Welcome to our show in this live radio program, of course, 93.5 FM. Soberenya na ang Inang Bayan dinhi sa Iligan, and we are simulcast in our KFH-SRP Facebook page, Ministry of Information and Communication. So thank you so much for being with us and inviting also our listeners to please join us, and also our viewers. So we are live this afternoon 2 to 4 p.m. And thank you so much, everybody. And back to you, the Majesty.
Yeah, medyo lakasan niyo ang boses niyo ha dahil mahina. Go ahead. Take it away, Sheriff Fanny Castillion.
Salvacion Legaspi Espiritu Santo, uban sab kanimo King Salvador Hans. Maayong hapon, maayong buntag, kung asa man kitang hilit sa kalibutan, maayong Iligan, Ciudad de Salvacion. We are empowered in the empowerment of the city of God, God's autonomy, Espiritu 92. We are pleased to have here our ambassador of Singapore, Ambassador Harun. We also have Dato Glenn of Negros. And of course to you ba, hindi kayo og sa tanan nga naminaw nga ni akaron sa atong Royal Sovereign Crown, Kingdom of Filipino Hacienda, the autocratic sovereign monarchy in the promulgation of the 1987 transitory provision. So transitory po tayo. So later on we have to discuss about how the nation is going on. We are now in the reign of the host nation, Kingdom of Filipino Hacienda, the host nation of all nations. Okay, back to you, the Majesty.
Yes, I would like to before we will continue our the primary of our program, let's recap what we had discussed yesterday regarding the flag. Now,
Yes.
it's really true. There is a law that provides anything that we do or the Republic of the Federal Republic of the Philippines do. We are all under the provision of the existing constitution. I would like to address in a friendly address to let's call on uh, Reba Conji, James Stevens, and also other parties. Let's hope that they are listening so we are not just working with the social media, addressing the concern of the city and the rest of the world, because we are here to resolve all issues that may arise in our declaration of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines declared by the host nation, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda, the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines declared. Now, maraming salamat sa atong mga kaigsunan nga naminaw sa atong programa nganhi sa pagbarug sa kaluwasan for the restoration, for the resolution sa atong mga problema diri sa atong syudad, kinahanglan ato na siyang sulbaron. In regards to our emblem, our flag, now, let us cite, kailangan i-cite natin ang enacted law. Once we cite the enacted law, because we never create any law, for now, we did not, except we promulgate the Constitution and all enacted law that will suffice the declaration of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. Now, in Republic Act 8491 is an act prescribing the code of the national flag, anthem, motto, coat of arms, and other heraldic items and device of the Philippines. Anong ibig sabihin ng heraldic? Heraldic means sovereignty, our sovereign rights, our culture and tradition, which actually the Philippines had lost it. Nawala ang atong symbolic, ang atong idealism as we, the sovereign Filipino people, since it has been disregarded, especially in 1986, when the Republic of the Philippines lost its territorial rights of jurisdiction and adopting Cadastro 292 Charter in 1950. So, ang Cadastro 292 had been chartered since 1950 to open the Central Bank of the Philippines. Right after the Republic of the Philippines lost its civil administration and had reduced to a corporate entity using Cadastri 292 by his by late President Corazon Aquino, executing Executive Order 292. Again, the the Cadastri 292, Executive Order 292, that has been executed in 1987, instituting administrative code. So, ano yung Executive Order 292? 292 is instituting the administrative code of 1987, June 27, 1986. That the administrative code currently in force in the 1st of 2017, when the relationship between the people and the government was by the colonial order then prevailing. Whereas effort to achieve the integrated and overall recodification of each provision resulted the Administrative Code 1978, which however was never published and later expressly repealed. So it was repealed. The 1903 Amendment Constitution of late President Marcos was repealed. That is stated in the second paragraph of the Executive Order 292. Now, it says here, whereas the effectiveness of government will be enhanced, a new administrative code which incorporate in a unified documents structure, functional, and procedural principles and rule of governance. Whereas the new administrative code will be the optimum benefit of the people and the government officers and employees, as it embodied changes in administrative structure and procedures designed to serve the people. Now therefore I, Corazon Aquino, President of the Philippines, by the power vested in me by the Constitution, do hereby promulgate the Administrative Code 297. So, anong nangyari? What happened? In 1987, what actually President Aquino promulgate is only the Cadastri 292 Executive Order. This is all what was promulgated, not the 1987 Constitution. Let me repeat, not the 1987 Constitution. So, according to the introduction of the provision of the Executive Order, Section 1, the act shall be known as Administrative Code of 1987. Administrative Code meaning to say temporary, third, under a corporate chairman, the president, vice president, legislative, executive, and judicial, on a temporary base until sovereignty will reign. Now, let's read what it says. Section 2, paragraph 1. The government of the Republic of the Philippines refers. So, ang government of the Republic of the Philippines refers to a corporate governmental entity. So, it's not a government. It's a corporate. Corporate never be a government. Let's make this very clear. Now, so under the introduction provision, section 1, then that's what it says, refers to a corporate government entity through which the function of the government are exercised throughout the Philippines, including, save of the contrary appears from the contract, whether pertaining to the autonomous region, the provincial city, municipal, or barangay subdivision, and other form of local government. Ito ngayon, section 2. The national government refers to the entire machinery of the central government, and central government now decentralized because the sovereign now has empowered. Now, established by in accordance with the Constitution. Number 4, agency is the government. So the government is it's not owner. It has lost its jurisdiction. Let me make it very clear. The Corporate Republic of the Philippines in 1997 lost its territorial jurisdiction, whereby the Republic of the Philippines has to seek the original territorial rights of jurisdiction, especially in Republic Act 4136, the LTO, and other provisions of the utilization of minerals and natural resources. Now, kailangan maintindihan natin itong mga acronym. Pag sinabing national agency, it refers to the unit of the national government. So, unit of the national government, ahinsya lang sila. They are not a unit as a government. Because in 1987, they were ready to prepare to enact the Republic Act 716, local government unit, local government code in the creation of barangay unit. Section 384, they are seeking for the Section 384, one person, one instrument for the constituency of all. So dito, kailangan nila ang ground zero grassroots, meaning the Cadastry 292, time immemorial, Section 56, before even the Spanish regime, that this land already because Cadastry 292 is the lost paradise, the Garden of Eden, God's autonomy. This is the holiest of all the Holy Land. Nobody should defy or compromise sovereignty. So, the local agency, ito na ngayon ang local agency. Itong lahat ng mga local agency dito sa Cadastry 292 empowered for the sovereignty already had executed quo warranto, meaning to say they are no longer allowed to do business or even an NGO here in this city. They had violated Chapter 10 of EPRA 8371, usurpation of authority and dominion. And this is a criminal case. Now, on the local agency, refers to their local government or distinct unit they're in. But this is only a temporary because we promulgate, 8491, promulgated by the Sovereign Crown, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda. Now, Chapter 3, it says here, the state immunity from suit. So, the state immunity from suit. This is in regards to the sovereignty. Kasi, ang hinahanap ng Article 1 is the sovereignty. They are seeking sovereignty. I don't have it right here with me, but it says on the proviso 1 of the 1987 Constitution is to seek sovereignty. Now, going back to Republic Act 8491, doon tayo sa bandila. Section 2 stipulates declaration of policy, reverence, and respect shall be at all times be accorded the flag, the anthem, national symbol, which embody the national ideals and traditions express the principle of sovereignty and national solidarity. So nakita nyo, in Article 2 of Republic Act 8491, it seeks sovereignty. Hinahanap ang bandila ng soberenya. And in Section 3, the definitive, whenever used in this act, the terms a military shall mean all branches of the armed forces of the Philippines, including Philippine National Police, the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the Bureau of Fire Protection, has to adapt, has to respect our emblem, our flag, the sovereignty. Kaya this is very clear. And by Dikay, let's go forward on Section 54 so we can actually put it on a closure on this flag, the banner of the sovereignty. As you can see, because we promulgate the Republic of the Philippines, we actually, the sovereignty has to be higher than the Philippines, because the sovereignty is the host of all nations. And I'm glad that we have also here Ambassador Harun of Singapore. Later we can discuss regarding Sabah claim, regarding Taiwan problem right now, which we are currently at war. We will explain that later. But to put it on bed, let's put the bed on bed. Itong Republic Act 8491, under separability clause, Section 54. Section 54 of Republic Act number 8491 stipulates, repealing clause, any law, presidential decree, or issuance of executive order, letter of instruction, administrative order, rule, and regulation contrary to or inconsistent with the provision of this act is hereby repealed, modified, or amended accordingly. So, dahil dito, we have, as a sovereignty, we have our banner. This banner should be the banner global. Global because it's the host of all nations. And in Article 2, Section 2, as the 1987 Constitution provides as a state policy and principle stipulates, the Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopt the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land, and adheres to the policy, peace, equality, justice, freedom, cooperation, and amity with all nations. So ano yung amity of all nations? Since Cadastre 292 of as the host of all nations, God's autonomy, this has to be respected. This has to be protected by anybody in the world, not only in this city, but also national and global. Why? Because we are also under the fulfillment of the Treaty of Paris, the Treaty of Peace in 1898. Take note, brothers and sisters, the Treaty of Peace is very important. The reason why we have disarray, war, global now, we are just entering into the Third World War since Senator Pelosi visited Taiwan. That aggravates China. Brothers and sisters, this is very difficult. Never think Philippines will not be affected, because America already is on their way here to the water, to the easy zone.
Since we lost the connection of the Majesty, so I would like to call on Dato Glenn first for your introduction. Dato Glenn, go ahead please while we're waiting for the Majesty. Thank you.
Yes, by Dix, thank you so much. Okay, so since the Majesty is not clear, no? So maybe sa signal siguro. Okay, so I would like to greet una sa atong mahal na reyna, no? HRM Queen Salvacion Legaspi Espiritu Santo. Ito ang King of all Kings, Salvador Hans Legaspi, sa ato usab karon nga presensya, no? Sa ato ang Sherifani ni Baydikay na si Sir Ronnie Cadilinya, no? O labi sa ato usab nga Ambassador Haron of Singapore na aman ron. Okay, so first ginako ni silang pod nga na meet, no, sa online. Okay, the Majesty is back. Okay,
You can continue. Go ahead, Chieftain Glenn.
Yes, Majesty, good afternoon. So sa tanan, good afternoon. O sa ato ang mga karon nga lanog na kaayo ta o dili na gid ingon nga mabara pa, no, ang kamatuoran So this is the most important labi na kay ang atuwa karon nga panghitabo sa tibuok kalibutan nag matuod ng tanan, no? Dagko kay problema kayron ang giatubang sa atong mga leaders, sa atong mga matag nasod. So kani unta katong gisgutan labi na katong gisgutan ni Majesty, the most important is katong Treaty of Peace since 1898 ug kini mao'y masahiran labi na sa mga nag seeking for truth, no, sa mga nagpangita alang sa kamatuoran. So
Yes, you're right.
okay.
Because the 1898 Peace Treaty, kaya tawag niyan, Peace Treaty. Because the
Yes
Peace
po.
Treaty is the only means that the world can achieve peace. Because the Peace Treaty constitute the original certificate title 0104, Global Territorial Rights of Jurisdiction, that it has to be respected and protected so that the global reset, meaning the global reset has already been established here, ground zero, grassroots, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda, autocratic sovereign monarchy. Because we are in possession of the original certificate title 0104 and the gold itself. The Federal Reserve System, the entire gold global, as said, who owns the land owns the gold. And who owns the land owns the gold, makes the rule. So, when I say makes the rule, meaning to say that sovereignty is in possession of the OCT 01-4, the gold itself now is already empowered under the Royal Sovereign Crown Bank, and also the humanity, highest universal being, the people living in this planet Earth, the highest universal being, humanity. Humanity means they belong to the international global community. Ang langit sa lupa, the heaven on earth, whereby Isaiah 66:1, as God said, heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool. So we already had established where the lost paradise, the Garden of Eden, is. It is here in this city, the city of Zion, or the city of salvation, redeemed, Iligan Cadastri 292, in the central decentralized Republic of the Philippines, NCR. We are NCR now is decentralized de facto republic. This is one reason why Luzon now also is under curse. Look what happened in Lawag. Lawag is often visited by earthquake. Luzon now, the same way, and also floods. Kunting ulan lang, lunop agad. Here in Mindanao, Davao just this morning has 5.4. Yesterday, Cotabato had another 5.4. And there is 20 some earthquake just today here in Mindanao. Kaya folks, let's wake up. Let us respect God's law, God's promulgation, so that all people will be saved. Whoever wants to be saved are saved. My greetings to Major Ronnie Cadelina. I'm glad you are here to join us today from Misamis. Thank you, and always nice to see you and say hello to your family, to Charlene and the kids, the bundle of joy.
Cheers.
Send my
Just
regards.
say hi, Majesty.
Hi, Kuya,
Cheers.
and
Cheers.
also to Ruboy, Alcontin.
Yes,
Thank
Majesty.
you. Greetings to everyone. And Ma'am Cecil, of course. And of course, here is Ambassador Harun Rashid Rahman. We invited him as our ambassador in Singapore, whereby the Philippine embassy now is empty, vacant in its embassy, in the office of embassy. Perhaps I would like to have Ambassador Harun share us his moment, because I already had ordered him to occupy the Philippine embassy in Singapore, representing the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines of Kingdom Filipina Hacienda. Good afternoon to you, Ambassador Harun Rashid Rahman.
Yes,
Greetings to you.
good afternoon, Her Majesty, and to everyone at our screen here. So, in fact, when I checked with the Philippine Embassy here in Singapore, uh, said an officer will left the post. Most probably, in international standard, someone have to be replaced before they leave the post. So, unfortunately, this Philippine Embassy here in Singapore, they just left the post, and there should be someone taking over. And they shouldn't leave the post as what we know in the international standard. So now I checked with their agency. I found that Joseph Delmaya left the post on the 22nd of July, 2022. That's I can say it for now.
Great.
To you,
Super.
Majesty.
Thank you very much. Also, Ambassador Harun, because right now, right here, I am glad. Also, you are a Singaporean, but actually, you are also a Malaysian national coming from Malaysia. Your heritage is actually from Malaysia itself. Now, I will be working with you in regards to Sabah, whereby Sabah definitely belongs to the Philippines. I would like to extend and let the people know that Sabah belongs to the Philippines, and that has to be reconveyed to the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines for the Filipino people. For the Filipino people who occupy in Sabah, whereby Malaysia should respect, so that the element will take care of them. That is now the positive or negative. They are either cursed or they will be blessed. They have to respect the rights of the Filipino people in Sabah, because Sabah belongs to the Philippines. This I declare, and I can put it all in writing, because I have all the map, all the records, and you know that, Ambassador. Now,
Yes, Your Majesty.
yes. So I will make my papers, the documents on that respect, so that, and we send it to Malaysia to respect the Filipinos in Sabah, as Sabah is owned and occupied now, declared by the crown for the Filipino people. Is that clear, Ambassador? Are you agreeing to this?
Yes,
Can you
I
hear
do
me?
agree on it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now already I'm mute. Yes, I accept and agreed. And that was the reason. Whereas our discussion earlier among Majesty and Mbak Edikai, that I wanted to go to the Malaysian Embassy in Singapore for me to submit all our documentation. And at the same time, I'll be going to Putrajaya via Malaysian ambassador. So that from there, I'm using our kingdom ambassadorship passport to travel to Malaysia as and when upon getting that document. So I'm going to give them some sort like a letter of acquisition or acknowledgement of our Kingdom Filipina Hacienda for their acknowledgement. because this was already done, in fact, in 2019 on 16 September. During that time, it was Mahathir. But unfortunately, Mahathir, some sort like he not interested to know about the Sabah and about our kingdom. So when he was stepped
Yeah, because
down,
Prime
he bring
Minister
he bring up the
Mahathir
issue.
already received our documents. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
In
received
fact,
our documents in 2019.
yes, I did display our Kingdom Filipino Hacienda document, the complete set of our document, even our OCT to Mahathir. But seems like he felt uneasy with that document because I told him, look, Mahathir, you don't have to worry. Our Majesty will give you some sort of like international amnesty, not to worry about it. But since that, he did not follow up. And after that, on February 2020, he was deposed from the post.
Yeah,
And he
because
can
because
said
of the
because he got,
lockdown, everybody got affected on that 2020 issue lockdown global.
correct. So it can be said because of the curse that he did not want to take part in it, and he was deposed on the February 2020, and change of new management in Malaysia.
Yes.
Back to you,
Okay.
Majesty.
Now, also on the issue on Taiwan, since you are there, not this is not your job, but actually you can help and support perhaps as an ambassador of KFH to Singapore. And since you're closer to Taiwan, I may also prepare some document that will notify Taiwan because in the ratification of the peace treaty, I would like to read because the Taiwan in the Strait of Formosa and Pescadero was not done. Because there
Okay.
is a short, let me read a synopsis, a short history. What happened in the Second World War in 1952, 1942 to
Okay.
1952 overseas. I would like to read it. It says here, in the ratification of the peace treaty, stipulates in the Second World War period, after the end of the military battle in the Pacific, United States military government, the USMG, in Formosa and Pescaderos, herein after Taiwan, known as Taiwan, began on October 25, 1945, with the surrender of Japanese troops. USMG delegates the administration of this area to Chinese national by means of the law of agency. Law of agency. You see, this is why China got threatened when America visited Taiwan. This is to
Okay.
strengthen the ties, the agreement of the peace treaty. Likewise, the envoy of the United States of America, ambassador, came to the Philippines and also met the president of the Philippines, reminding the relationship between the two nations.
Yes.
Regarding the USMG peace treaty as read, and I hope I get a time later in our program, I would like to air it in the radio so that the people in this city, and we will put it in a streamline, that the rest of the world will listen to that visitation of the U.S. military envoy to the president beginning of this month in regards to the peace treaty. Now,
All
in
right.
this Taiwan, because they already had started all the threats, American deployment on their um, ammunitions, their vessels, the war vessels, is already arriving in the Philippines very shortly, whereby China already start to launch threats of their war ammunition. Now, This has to be restored. This has to be informed that the sovereignty is in support so that there will be a peace treaty for the amity of the nation. It says it is important to recognize that the administration of this area to handle separately from the administration of the four main Japanese islands. Note, the law of agency is the body of the legal rules and norms concerned with any principal agent relationship in which one person or group has legal authority to act for another. The law of agency is based on the Latin means qui facit per alium. Facit as per which means who he who acts through another is deemed in law to do it himself. The Treaty of Peace with Japan, open and close parenthesis, San Francisco Peace Treaty, was signed in September 8, 1951 and came into force April 28, 1952. The following articles, Article 2, 3, and 4. This has to be concluded. So this peace treaty has to be concluded here in this city, in God's city, God's autonomy, here at ground zero grassroots, that I have prayed for. The second mechanized brigade, that is the restoration of the second mechanized brigade has to be turned over and occupied by the sovereignty. Ato na siyang gibasa dinhi sa Republic Act 8491. So they have to respect this, that the heraldific, the emblem of the Philippines to protect sovereignty. It is time now to call on the second mechanized brigade and also the Philippine National Police, as mandated by the Constitution and the existing law, for the transition government, has to be restored, respected, protected, and enforced as ordered by the sovereign crown. So ordered, so be it. Because this has already been awarded. Back to you, Paidikay.
Majesty?
Back to you, Paidikay. Take it away. So, seems like Paidika is not ready. You might want to greet our viewers, our listeners. I would like to greet our listeners here in Iligan City, Rayback Conji, James Tivis, our sovereign patriots down in Zonal Barangay Chen, Chieftain Bai Josephine, Bai Bilen de la Peña, Major Cabalona, Plus, and the rest. Maidikay, continue, take it away.
Yes, Majesty, thank you so much. I'm sorry for my signal is not cooperating, but now I'm back. Okay, thank you so much, Majesty. Yes, Majesty. Okay, thank you so much. So, for our topic earlier, I hope it is now clear to our listeners, especially to Mr. Ray Baconhi and Mr. James Teves, regarding our flag transition, the Majesty, that we don't violate any of the laws. So just review the repealing clause also to Mr. Conhi and
Yes,
Mr. Teves.
yes. Thank
So
you.
that we can close this matter. Yeah. So we don't need to makigsabong yun na nila for that because it is all written sa ato ang mga balaod. So it's up to them to, to review the laws. So dili na nato na siya yung babag sa atong transition. So thank you so much sa atong mga listeners. No, we are live here 93.5 Soberenya na ang Iligan. Soberenya na inang bayan diri sa Iligan. We are very loud and clear though our weather is not cooperating this much, but it's okay. Nobody can stop us because the Majesty is with us, right, Ambassador? And also Dato Chieftain Glenn Rosanoy of Negros. So naghantag i-greet din he, but I don't know if my signal is cooperating. So happy viewing to Juan Paraiso, Meiga, Ricardo Lopez, of course, Meiga Dilinya and family, just left Cabilos. Okay.
Also maybe a short greetings from Major Ronnie Cadalina. I'd like to hear him make a short statement, or it's all up to you. It is yours right now. Take it away, Major Ronnie Cadalina. You may want to
Hello,
a little hello to everyone.
hello everyone, especially to our Queen of the Motherland, Majestic Her Royal Highness Majestic Queen Salvacion Legaspi Espiritu Santo, to Her Royal Highness King Salvador Hans Legaspi Espiritu Santo, Ambassador Haron, good afternoon, Baidikay, Shirifani, Dato Glenn, good afternoon po sa inyong lahat, listening from Usamis City.
We are always delighted to see you and hear from you.
Yes, Majesty.
Very soon, we are working on Osamis autonomy. That is very soon. Much likely
Yes,
early
Majesty.
next year. You'll have the land grant for Osamis so that Osamis becomes a legitimate city itself, ruled under the Sonal Tribal Barangay. Thank you
Yes,
very
Majesty.
much. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Majesty. Greetings po sa lahat sa atin. Sana suportahan natin ang daily live ni Majesty para rin sa ating lahat to eh. At saka dapat yung mga nandyan sa Iligan, in the city of Salvacion, makinig sila at saka dapat ulit-ulitin nila para marami silang makuha.
Sana blessed sila, no?
Oo.
Sayang, sana ang Iligan would consider it that they are blessed na ang may-ari
Majesty.
sa lupa at sa buong mundo
Nandyan.
dito nakatira sa bayan nila.
Yes, Majesty.
Sana ma-realize nila. Pero kung hindi naman, marespeto ko rin sila. It's all. Kasi nakasulat din naman kasi. But there
Yes,
is
Majesty.
always time to repent and reconcile. Di ba?
Yes, Majesty.
Kailangan
Thank
it
you so
has
much,
to be
Majesty.
heartily reconciliation eh. Hindi yung basta-basta lang. Go ahead.
At saka, yan lang muna, Majesty.
Okay.
Unprepared.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Dato, Glenn, maybe you want to continue and say something? And also, before you continue, I would like to make it clear to all the sovereign patriots, you are a registered subject of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines, meaning in the land you are situated, you are already protected by your sovereign rights. We, the sovereign Filipino people, embracing sovereignty, you never had lost your sovereign rights. Your civil and human rights is protected under the Constitution. Remember this. Your land is protected by the Constitution. Showing up your sovereign ID, you are already protected by the Constitution of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. Your land, your health, what is constituted under the Constitution on the Civil and Human Rights, under EPRA 8371, it's very important that our rights and the citizens should not be discriminated. Back to you. Dato Glenn, you want to make a statement?
Yes, Majesty, thank you. So, thank you, no, Sir Ronnie, akong nasundan sa no. So, maunang yung gidnay nindot kayo, kaya to aman sa giingon ni Baidi kay kanina, it's up to us na lang, no, sa labi na sa itong mga viewers o listeners sa ang live program, nga mo review sa existing law, kay naamang gid na siya, ma-access yung gina nato na siya. So, ato alang gid nga sayran, ngano man ang kasagaran ron nga mga tao kung mupakli na gani tag articles o kanang nalati diya sa 1987 Constitution, moingon sila gyud denial na kaayo, no, ang kasagaran.
You know, I have a very good answer for that.
Yes,
They are actually disturbed. They're errors. And because they are so-called the officer in charge in uniform, but they are not following the rule of law, the rule of court, and they even do not know jurisdiction. That question is, who deputized them? In which department that holds jurisdiction? Kaya, ang totoo niyan, na they are embarrassed to accept that they don't know the law. They are paid to do the job. And it's so darn embarrassing. You know the law and they don't. And the easiest and the simplest way to do it is ignoring it. Not realizing the more they ignore us, the more they had sinned against the Constitution. Yun ang purpose niyan. Playing ignorance doesn't mean they are safe. Because playing ignorance, they have more violation. It will be conspiracy. It will be corrupt practice. It will be treason. It will be rebellion against sovereignty. So mas malaki ang kasalanan nila. What they should have done is they should ask their superior. And they should encourage and said, what is going on? How come outside? They know, the people outside know the law than us. Yan po ang problema niyan, Dato. Lalo na ang EPRA, Glenn, na sa EPRA 8371 because I have already discussed and spoke with the chairman and the legal counsel, the legal director of NCIP, Attorney Wandag. You know, he apologized and embarrassedly apologized me and said to me, you know, Majesty, I'm really sorry. Nobody in this department know the law. Lalimang ka? Nobody knows the law of EPRA 8371. And I can call right now to Attorney Wandag. And he just wished us that we can empower. But he actually direct me to the chairman. And I, the chairman, you are fired. Because they are too busy entertaining those, usurper for usurpact, using our land without free and prior informed consent. Yan ang problema. Kaya I hope I was able to answer you, Dato Glenn. Go ahead, take away. You have to unmute it.
Mo ni
Unmute, please.
Nagdala sa tinon nga
Got
kahayag no
unmute.
kay kung ma-explain ni Majesty sa labi na gid itong mga dili pa registered no sa sovereign kay ang uban is mao lagi na they are still clearing po no ang uban, so they are still in the process of getting information tungod kay naka-create ng good chaos ning gibuhat sa mga corporate tungod kay naman pud sila yung mga indigenous people karon labi na kay nagkuan pud sila nag-launch pud sila nadako kay ilang budget nga gilaunch sa mga IP.
They actually connote the indigenous as indigents, not knowing indigenous people are
Yes,
time immemorial. These are noble men. These are noble warriors, the spiritual warriors. These are very intelligent. I am indigenous. I am not indigent. And all indigenous is part of this land. They have their sovereign rights. They have to stand up. Their sovereign rights under the civil code. Civil code of the Republic of the Philippines. Enacted laws. Yan yun. I cannot protect everybody. That's why there is law. Self-empowerment, self-declaration, self-determination. So in doing so, there is a law. All of us has to study the law and defend your rights. Not when you have problem, you have to call me. That's very wrong. What if there is 1,000 of you and there's only one of me? Then the indigenous sovereign, the sovereign patriots gives injustice to God. That's why everybody has to know their rights. Only learn what you need to defend your rights. Very simple. Only to defend your rights is all the rights that you need to study. You don't have to study the law book because even the lawyer does not know the law. That is fact. Kasi when you talk about the lawyer, in 2007, the bar, integrated bar, kaya tawag nun, integrated bar, British accreditation, registration, is already null and void since 2007. There is no more barrister, British, that is to protect British crown, the Torrens title. But the Torrens title is no longer, is already cancelled since 1976. This is what happened, why all the lawyers becomes the number one squatting syndicate. Yun. We have all our comprehensive rule of court and the rule of law that they just have to be and need it. It's like, for example, Datugen, Ambassador Harun, and to everybody. This address to everybody. They said about if you want to talk to the officer in the street because they don't know the law and you know the law, the least they can do is disobedience of the officer. They have no idea that they are no officer. They are not deputized by the sovereign crown. Perhaps they are deputized by the corporate federal republic. You have to ask them jurisdiction. In which jurisdiction they stand, because you stand on your own ground. Private property rights. You are a sovereign citizen. They have to respect you. And that is under Circular Memorandum DILG 202-89. DILG Circular Memorandum 202 no 2011-009. That all the government officials from the governor, mayor, barangay, and all government agencies has to respect, protect,
I think the Majesty also is experiencing a bad connection in there. So while we're waiting for her to come back online, ako sa uning saloon. So Sheriff Honey, ikaw usa ang salo, please.
Okay.
Sheriff?
Okay, thank you ba, Idikay? To the rescue tayo while their line is has a difficulty to reconnect. So, with regards to the issue, the main issue natin is about the flag. You can see here at the back is the flag of the host nation, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda. So prior to that, sa 1987 Constitution, mag-umpisa po tayo sa Article 1. Bago po tayo i-discuss about flag, meron po tayo, mag-umpisa po tayo sa pinakapuno. Kasi mag-discuss tayo about flag, wala pa ang puno, parang immature, kaya hindi natin maintindihan. So, uumpisahan natin ang puno. So, ano ang puno? Article 1. Anong sinasabi ng ating Article 1? Prior sa Article 1, meron po tayong panalangin. Ano ba yung ating panalangin? So, I would like to say this in Tagalog version para maintindihan. Pray back konje, pagmata. Okay, pagmatan, okay. Sagipin natin ang Inang Bayan, that is Cadastry 292, Section 9 of the Transitory Provision. So, transitory provision, bakit ba meron tayong transitory provisions? Because po, interim republic po ang Pilipinas. So, merong interim, kaya merong transitory provision. So, civil administration is not permanent. While waiting in search for the sovereignty. So, ano ang ating panalangin sa 1987 Constitution? Ang sinasabi, kami, ang makapangyarihang sambayanang Pilipino na humihingi ng tulong sa makapangyarihang Diyos upang bumuo ng isang makatarungan at makataong lipunan at magtatag ng isang pamahalaan na kakatawan sa aming mga mithiin at mga lunggatiin, maitataguyod ang kabutihan sa bawat isa, mangangalaga at magpapaunlad ng aming kamanahan at titiyak para sa aming sarili at ang kanilang at makamtan ang sumusunod na mga biyaya at kalayaan at demokrasya sa ilalim ng pananaig ng batas at ang mapamahalaang puspos at katotohanan, katarungan, kalayaan, pag-ibig, pagkapantay-pantay sa kapayapaan, kapangyarihan at naglalagda at naghahayag ng konstitusyong ito. So, maliwanag po, Tagalog po yun. So, sana tayong mga Bisaya, nasabta na to Tagalog. So, ang atong pangamuyo, pangamuyo sa Dios nga Amahan, kay kita magpabarog sa atong gobyerno, nga haom sa atong pagkatao, based sa atong mga historic rights and legal titles, atong balikan ang atong history. Kay in the very first place, na atay gisundan nga legal rights and legal titles. Historic rights and legal titles. So, naatay historical accounts, legal titles para masundan nato kung asa ta magbase. So, ang basis is before tayo maging issue ang flag, umpisahan natin sa pinakapuno, which is 1987 Constitution. Its prayers is to seek the sovereignty. So again, no, ako natagaan og emphasis, what is sovereignty? Nganong sovereignty nga dili nila nahisabtan. In simple words, sovereignty means independent. Dili ka subject sa control. Independent ka. Sovereignty. So we used to say, ang langit sa lupa. Para lang nga simple nga maintindihan. O saan sovereignty? Langit sa lupa. Independent. Freedom from control. So the sovereignty is not part of the corporate Republic of the Philippines. Long before, yes, because that is an interim. While President Marcos has that during the time na apa siya'y katungod. But after that, nalaps na ang interim republic, ipso facto, ipso hori, mubarog na ang atong bagong konstitusyon pinaagi sa sovereignty. So, naa na ba'y sovereignty? Unsaon natong pagpabarog sa sovereignty? Asa man ang sovereignty? So, nangita daay siya og isa ka tawo nga independent person ownership in rem. So maging ko ako ang sovereignty. So kung sovereignty ka, naaba kay basihan nga sovereignty ka. Asa man ang imong balaod, asa man ang imong legalidad, asa man ang imong hihuptan nga ikaw makaingon nga ikaw ka sovereignty ka. So naa na diha ang historic rights and legal title. Musulod na diha ang Treaty of Paris, Treaty of Peace. Ang ginsuguran mao ang katapusan. Ang katapusan mao ang ginsuguran. So aniya na kita karon sa ginsuguran. Kay nahuman naman. So nibalik na autocratic, mubalik ang since time immemorial nga sistema sa panggamhanan nga monarchical. Mao kana ang atong sistema sa panggobyerno sa unang panahon nga karon nibalik na. Kaya namugna ang RA 8371, Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997. So 1997, 10 years thereafter sa 1987 Constitution. So question, unsa man di ay ng RA 8371? Okay, because ang 1987 Constitution wala na promulgate because of lack of jurisdiction. Walay territorial rights of jurisdiction ang Republic of the Philippines. Why? Because there is an ensuing case under the Land Registration Court, which is the civil case 3957P, nga mao kana ang naging issue kung saan ang Republic of the Philippines et al. Ay nagpetisyon kay gustong umangkin ng territory. All they think that the Italianos left no heir. Dahil walang heirs ang mga Talyano, kaya gusto nilang mag-file ng reconstitution proceeding. So the fact alone that they filed that reconstitution proceeding doon sa first court of the first instance, ang sinabi ng korte ay walang jurisdiction dahil ang kaso ay Land Registration Court issue, exclusive sa Land Registration Court, not the court of the first instance or the RTC today. Kaya na-dismiss. Walang jurisdiction dahil in rem, hindi pwedeng pakialaman ang in rem decision. Kaya naging in rem siya dahil may treaty, may kasunduan. So may kasunduan 1764 that would end 1965. So yan ngayon, ang issue is national territory, which is Article 1, Section 1. Okay. So saan na ngayon ang Article 1, Section 1? Because in CAGRSP 70014 promulgated December 11, 2009, the Republic of the Philippines Land Transportation Office, Manila International Airport, and the Pasay City Government of Manila are all expunged. Expunged na po. Dahil una-una ang sinabi, walang wrong mode of appeal ang petitioner na Republic of the Philippines. Bakit ka mag-appeal na ang may jurisdiction is LRC at hindi RTC? Kaya wrong mode of appeal. And in the first place, sabi, bakit ka magfa-file ng expropriation proceeding under eminent domain? So sabi ng korte, ikaw Republic of the Philippines, sa pagfa-file mo ng eminent domain, what is eminent domain? It is a power of the state to take private property for public use upon just compensation. So sabi ng korte, Republic of the Philippines, dahil nag-file ka ng eminent domain, you are already stooped and is barred to claim to reconstitute the national territory, the Republic of the Philippines. Now, and in GR 171913, here comes the Her Royal Majesty. By the execution of the Third Legaspi execution, possession, and demolition, nahuman ang kaso, it was resolved to Her Royal Highness Queen Salvacion Legaspi y Espiritu Santo. By then, the Third Division Supreme Court has issued the letter of transmittal upon the issuance of the Third Legaspi. So, na-execute na ng Third Division Supreme Court to Her Royal Highness Queen Salvacion Legaspi y Espiritu Santo, stated therein in paragraph 53, page 3, it says that the decision is highly apocryphal and it is resolved to the Her Royal Highness. So, dahil nga na-desisyonan na at na-entry na ang judgment, September 26, 2006, the Supreme Court and all courts has already closed its mouth to speak about ownership. After the entry of judgment, wala na tayong pag-usapan. So, by the issuance of letter of transmittal to Her Royal Highness Queen Salvacion Legaspi y Espiritu Santo, relinquishment of all rights and reserves to Kingdom Filipina Hacienda, the land of infinitum, the highest tribunal, Supreme Court. Okay. So, bakit ganito? Ayaw nyong sumunod sa batas. Ang gusto ninyo, charter change. So, nag-charter change kayo. So, are you a government? Only the government could make and amend the law by the sovereignty. Again, what is sovereignty? Ang langit sa lupa, independent, freedom from control. You have no right at all. Kaya, ang sovereignty is the highest and supreme authority of the land. At saan ang sovereignty? It resides in the people. Who are these people? These are the people since time immemorial by virtue of RA 8371, Section 13, the inherent right to self-govern, self-empowerment, self-determination, self-delineation, self-funded. Kunya, may ingon na bag-scam. So, asa man ang inyong katungod nga muhusga, nga moingon mo rebellion. Kabalo po mo unsay rebellion? That is public uprising against the duly constituted authority, the ruler of the city. Sabi na lang natin city dahil sa Iligan, gapuyo ang tag-iya. This is God's autonomy. So, who owns the land owns everything. And by virtue of ownership in REM, 426, 427, 428, 429, the rights of ownership could be exercised over rights or property. So, unsa man ang rights niya? The right to make a nation, the right to make a new name of our country, the right to make the flag that resembles our ideals and aspirations, the rights to make passport, the right to use the land through RA 4136 has already been cancelled. Kaya ang Kingdom Filipino Hacienda issued the plaka and the driver's license because that is an exercise of right of sovereignty. Kaya magsabi kayo na bakit hindi sinusunod, ay kasi nga hindi nyo alam ang batas dahil kayo ay korporasyon. Ang korporasyon po kasi artificial being, kaya mahirap turuan ang mga corporate corps kasi patay na po eh. Kaya mahirap turuan. Kaya embrace sovereignty para maintindihan. Only the sovereignty through RA 8371 na nagtuturo sa inyo ng batas at maintindihan ninyo from point to point. So, national territory is the very basic. Meron ba ang Pilipinas ng Article 1, Section 1? Yan ang tanong. Nagtatanong lang. Kung meron yan, then you have the right to question. If not, you have nothing. So, kayo mabaliktaran ng rebellion. Because, under the rule of law and rules of court, the transitory provision has already promulgated. So, saan ngayon ang de facto government at alin ang de jure government? So, ingat-ingat tayo ha, dahil ang cyber libel, you are imputing a crime. You are imputing a crime. Careful. Alamin ang batas para hindi ka maging dayuhan sa sariling bayan. Kapag wala kang national teritoryo, you are nothing but a mere slave. Kaya listen. I hope I made my position clear. And back to you, the Majesty.
Absolutely, you are very much correct, Sheriff Fanny Castillon. Because when you put yourself, especially in the social media, trying to make inquiry, you already have responsibility. You cannot just open your mouth. Either you are trying to coerce, you are trying to intimidate without knowing, unless you really want information dissemination. There's nothing wrong with that. All questions are all welcome. But make sure that your purpose is to let the people know para ang mga tao talaga ay maging informed sila. Ano ba talaga ang ibig sabihin? Pero huwag mang insulto dahil hindi rin kami mang insulto. Kung na-insulto man kayo sa sagot namin, dahil ang aming sagot, we go straight to the point. Point blank talaga. Batas sa batas. Kaya kita mo, nagtanong kayo sa bandila, ayun, binigay namin ngayon ang batas sa bandila. Ngayon, ito na naman. Later, I would like to ask Maidikay na pag naano na niya, bakit anong dahilan kung bakit isulong ang charter change. We will go into that. But gusto ko rin panagutan ng ahensya, lokal ahensya sa Republic of the Philippines, itong document na pinadala ni Celso Regencia regarding electrification. Ano yung Republic Act that was approved and ratified by Congress? I am sure itong ratification na gusto niyang i-restore ang electrification ay matagal na ito. This is already a dead issue. They're trying to resurrect the dead. Hindi man pwede yan. Kasi if you are resurrecting the dead, how can the dead back to life? Kagaya niyan. The Republic of the Philippines is de facto. It is a corporation. It is decentralized. They have to embrace sovereignty to the sovereign Republic of the Philippines because there is a law under Republic Act, Constitution, Article 18, Amendment Transitory Provision. Merong mambatas dyan that they have to transcend to sovereignty, the existing nation. then we can accept them as employment. So, iyan ngayong gustong gagawin ni Celso Regencia regarding electrification, ay hindi yan pwede magamit yan. Bakit? Republic of the Philippines is already gone. Finish. Kaya nga balikan natin yung charter change. May lumabas pinadalhan kami. Actually, nakamimi to. At ginawa namin itong mimis. Anong sabi dito? Ilang dahilan kung bakit isulong ang charter change. Remember, charter is corporate. Ano yung change? They want to change the they want to change the corporate Republic of the Philippines to federal institution. So gusto nilang palitan ang corporate Federal Republic of the Philippines, gusto nilang palitan ng Federal Republic. Hindi pwede. Dahil pag mag-declare sila ng Federal Republic of the Philippines, before it will stand on its own, there will be a military state of emergency. State of emergency, federal, kawawa kayo mga nilalang. Hindi pwede. Dahil nandito ang sovereignty. Bakit? Gusto nyo kulong kayo? So, ito ngayon ang dahilan. There are 4 issues kung bakit gusto nila ang charter change ng nakaupo ngayon ng Corporate Federal Republic. Bakit gusto daw nila? Number 1, desperadong makapanatili sa poder. They want to maintain as a leader, as a government, when they are not. NGO. So, desperate sila, kaya lahat na lang ng kahangalan, kabaliwan, ang ginagawa nila na i-lockdown kayo. Ang pera nyo, wala na. Papalitan na kasi yan ng digital. So, desperado silang manatili sa poder. Pangalawa, magpapalawig pa ng kapangyarihang politikal. Pakikialam sa Bill of Rights. Ano yung Bill of Rights? Yung Bill of Rights, yung civil and human rights niyo, ayaw nilang magkaroon kayo niyan. Gusto nila na sa poder niya kayo, gawin kayong slave, kaya yan yung vaccine. Through vaccine, you can be manipulated as a slave of the Federal Republic of the Philippines. Pangatlo, gusto nilang palitan ang pang-ekonomyang provision ng konstitusyon. So, ang provision ng economy sa konstitusyon, gusto nilang palitan. Maging electronic government, maging electronic business, maging electronic tao kayo, digital people for a digital business, para kayo totally becomes their slave. Pangapat, tanggalin ang balakid sa pagpasok ng dayuhang tropang militar ay armas nuklear. So, yan ngayon. They want, eto, papasok na sila. Gusto nyo nuclear war? Tingnan mo yung sa Fukushima. Doon yan. Saan yan? Fukushima, doon yan sa Pearl Harbor, ano? Hanggang ngayon, nandyan pa rin ang mga debris noong mga sa nuclear war. Wala nang matira. Mga kapatid, that's why nandito tayo sa airtime na to. We're trying to stop the war between China and Taiwan. Itong war ng China and Taiwan, will be an Asian war. Asian war ang mangyari niyan, mga kapatid. Kaya, huwag tayong bastang papayag na ang charter change nila maging federal instead sovereignty. Sovereignty is peace, unity, and prosperity of the nation with justice and liberty. Enjoying your civil and human rights. Yun ang dapat nyong ipaglaban, ang inyong sariling karapatan. Huwag nyong ibigay dyan sa CCP, dyan sa Chinese Emperor na sinabi na ni President Tsai noong 2019 that he is the God. God daw siya, kaya mula noon, yung pera nila, up to this time, wala na. Totally collapse. Hindi na talaga magamit. So ano mangyari? They have to embrace sovereignty now. They have to embrace sovereignty because we are now declaring the ground zero global reset so that other nation will come to this city so that we can extend them the land grant. Para ang land grant ay ating mag-grant doon sa mga other Asian nation and including United States of America, and that they can loan again to create their gold currency for their country. So ang gold and land and covenant, that is the Constitution, has to be reset here in this city. Yan ang pinaka-importante nating gagawin. Mga kapatid, maraming salamat sa ating pagpapakinig, sa ating mga presensya dito, sa ating timeline. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Mega from Davao, Ricardo Lopez from Tondo, Manila. Greetings to all of you. Of course, Jalet Cabelos, greetings from Negros. I heard malakas ang ulan. Dato Glenn, sabi nila ang lakas ng ulan sa Negros. Is it? How is it right now? How is the weather? Here, here in Iligan, ulan, hindi naman masyado dito sa Castle. It's like drizzling. Just it drizzles. Taligsik lang.
No po. Dito masyadong malakas. Kanina pa po ito. Mas delikado sa mga may bahay dun sa mga may sapa sa gilid ng mga bundok. Magka-landslide pa po.
Did you see what's happening right now in Japan and also in China? They have more floods.
Yes.
So as in Japan, you see what's happening right now in the world. End of the world na kasi. Anong ibig sabihin ng end of the world? End of the world means the whole world is collapsing. Whether they like it or not, it will never be the same again. They have to embrace sovereignty. Then their world begins. Kasi nandito na ang inang bayan. Tumayo na kasi ang langit sa lupa. Nandito na ang Garden of Eden. Nanawagan na ang Diyos doon sa 144,000 people of Israel. Revelation 7. Iilan pa lang. They have to register here at the Sovereign Crown Kingdom Philippine Hacienda that they become a subject of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. That is the mandate in that order. Because that's the only way they can be a subject and they can be part of the transition of the Sovereign Republic sa kanilang karapatan. That's the only means. at the sovereignty, God and country, the elements will protect the people who embrace sovereignty. The elements, the most powerful than military power. When the elements move, it can clean the whole city without mercy. That's one reason why they have to get their sovereign ID so that the elements can protect them. Back to you, Baidikay.
Thank you so much, the Majesty. So, sa ato ang mga lugar karon Majesty, lain-lain di ay ang mga nag-ulan. So, just now, naka-receive og message na kay Sovereign Patriot Dexter Cadilinya, dili gid kuno siya makasulod sa tungod sa signal kay pertid ang pusuga dito sa ulan. But here in Iligan, diri sa ato Majesty sa Palao, wala may ulan, murag di na ko malili, murag wa jay ulan dinhi, pero
Daligsik lang.
it's really cloud.
Makasunod sa
So,
opisina.
ang rain down
Gawas
on and
may
off.
ulan.
Yes, Majesty. Yes, Majesty. So, mao na nga, the elements are really working right now. And then, so, ang naa din nag-comment din ni Majesty, the buot day kuno ipasabot sa territorial jurisdiction is not all about infrastructure. Yes. Dili man guni siya kumain kag jurisdiction, oy, diri ingon ana, no, kanang very deep ni siya kung atoan ni siyang sabton. So, territorial jurisdiction sumaunang naa din na side sa ato ang Article 1 sa national territory nato ug unsa man kini, it was already well explained sa ato pang mga niaging mga live show. So, dili lang na siya about sa mga building, mga infrastructure. Kana siya ang 0104. So, lalong kaya siya tong karon, pero hope kaning nag-message, nag-text sa ako kanang masabtan na gyud niya what is really territorial jurisdiction. So, mauna po to Majesty, ako lang gibasa ang iyahang gi-text sa ako about sa territorial jurisdiction. And thank you so much, and back to you, the Majesty.
Sheriff Fanny? Go ahead, you can go ahead.
Sa nag-comment, no? Very correct.
Yeah.
Without territorial rights of jurisdiction, wala kay dapat panggamhanan. Asa man ka mag-exercise sa imong administrasyon, unsa man nga sistema kana, kung wala kay national territory, wala kay territorial rights of jurisdiction, bisag naa kay teritoryo diha pero wala kay rights, kay wala kag gitagaan og recognition sa sovereignty, dili gihapon mahigo kag usurpation of authority and dominion. Kaya naa diha ang RA 8371 nga nangita na siya og free and prior informed consent. Otherwise, usurpation of authority and dominion, PD 772, squatting syndicate kana. So, ang sabto nato karon nga sa karon nga panahon kay expunge naman ang Republic of the Philippines, expunge ang Land Transportation Office, expunge ang Pasay City Government, expunge ang Manila International Airport, expunge tanan kay niuli naman sa original owner. So lisod sabton kay ang panag-iya original owner nga nagmanifest, nagmanifest. So kay ang
that is the reason why the world came to an end, Sheriff.
Yes, po, Your Majesty.
Because the world lost that right to operate without free and prior informed consent from the sovereignty. End of the world. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng end of the world. The element will not stop destroying their cities if their leaders fail to recognize sovereignty. Yan ang problema. So let's greet diyan sa ating sa atong chat group diyan sa sovereign versus federal. Gusto ko lang i-greet ang ating mga active members diyan. Armando Mesteo from Davao. We also have Clufy de la Cruz from Cavite. Danny Sagon from Pampanga with Sagon also, Francis Sagon also from Pampanga. Eden Mark Sagon also welcome. And we also have Joventena Dilin Sasuman of Sumbuanga. Greetings to you. Malo Esquinas from Cavite. Now, Boyson of Cavite region, Rizal province. My friend Oliver Luna. I tried to invite him there. Randy Sumampong. Not to forget, our most important guy. We seem like we have not forgotten you. Sir Randy Sumampong. It's just I know you are too busy, as much as we are too busy too. But I would like to give this respect to you and to your family. Sir Randy Sumampong, dyan sa Hinaplanon, Barangay. Greetings to you and Beirut of Cebu. Magandang hapon sa inyo. And Baidikay, take it away.
Sa Majesty, thank you so much sa Majesty. Napay nag-text din sa ako ang Majesty, nag-ingon siya na siya question, moral participation o dala question, ingon siya, so dili na di ay sila makagamit sa existing law. Ang kaning existing law, mauna ni ang sa soberenya. Mauni iyahang Canada Majesty or iyahang clarification.
That's very good. That's a very good
Thank you
question.
so much sa nag-text ako.
Let me explain. The problem in this transition government, the local government, corporate, federal, Republic of the Philippines failed to explain to the citizenry. Kaya binasa natin yung 1987 when Corazon Aquino declared the Executive Order 292. She explained actually ano ang local government corporation. They don't belong to the existing. Ang existing constitution now belongs only to the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. Only. Because the corporate federal or decentralized government has lost its territorial rights of jurisdiction. They don't have Article 1 of the 1987 Constitution. They do not have, under Republic Act 7160, local government. They don't have the barangay unit. And what we do have is confederated barangay, which is not a government. Confederated means charter, confederated barangay, federal. So because of that, by no means they can enjoy the existing constitution. Kaya nga I always said when I get to the social media, please be specific in which constitution they actually is standing on. The Federal Corporate Constitution, the NGO, or the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. Then they become the zonal barangay. So there is only one barangay unit that all agency, once they are able to transcend to sovereignty, they become a zonal barangay. Zonal barangay unit, meaning government. But there is only one local government unit. That is the central host of all nation, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda. Yan ang Cadastry 292. Certificate of Ancestral Domain. Ancestry, the patrimony of the nation of time immemorial. Section 56 of EPRA 8371. Is that clear ba, Iday? I hope I'm able to get the clarificatory difference between when they said existing. When we say existing, it has to be a sovereign, territorial jurisdiction, sovereign Republic of the Philippines. That is existing. But if they belong to the federal digital government, digital title, digital address, and digital people, they don't belong to the existing constitution. Back to you, Baidikay.
Salamat kayo, The Majesty. O hope atong nag-text ako ano kanang nakaklaro na gid ka og kinsa gyud ang existing law kay moingon man gud sila para sa anang kanang mo reason out ka sa mga police din ha or si kinsa na nihang mga officer nila. Ingnon man dayon ta og kita ang ning disobey o person in authority. So karon kinsa man gyud ang tinuod nga person in authority? Sila ba o ang naa sa sovereignty? So mao ni dinhi ang ako ganing gi-comment sa ako ang comment dito sa Facebook, The Majesty, akong giingon. So now the question is, who is the government and what is a government? That is excerpted from your comment also, Majesty. It is the NGO, de facto Republic of the Philippines that is running as a corporation, or the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines who has the indefeasible mother title, the territorial jurisdiction. So di ba, The Majesty, klaro kaayo sa natanan. Oh, so moingon pa gyud kinsay imong gipangutana? Ako ang Republic of the Philippines. So they're just trying to reply in an arrogant way because I don't know if they really know or they just don't
because they're
know.
embarrassed.
Don't know. Yeah, and they got embarrassed.
They didn't realize that they become. The people did not realize they become part of the conspirator of the existing federal confederated. They become kaya pag maglinis ang Diyos, ang elemento, when the element starts cleaning, everybody will be under doom. It will be a doomsday for everybody who become a part of the conspirator. Conspiracy is conspiracy to all. They become accomplice of the federal. Kanalang wala sila kwarta. Just the fact they are unable to create money. They are not a government. Because the only government is the one that can create currency, that can restore legitimate passport, sovereign passport. We have our sovereign ID. We have our sovereign plate ID running in the street, executed under the Ministry of Information and Communication, under the Department of Ministry on Transportation. Kaya itong NTC din, naka-franchise din itong NTC. NTC is under franchise on the Patrimony of the Nation, Article 11. Kaya lahat ng franchise of the National Radio Network, they have to reinstate their radio frequency to the sovereign crown. Batas yan. Otherwise, they become illegal. Kaya nga ang ABS-CBN gusto nila, ABS-CBN, they want to have it concord in Congress na ang kanilang franchise will be renewed But the Congress of the Republic of the Federal Philippines do not have the rights of the hemisphere, air, water, land, and sun. So, kaya ang importante talaga, everybody has to get a free and prior informed consent para ma-blessed sila. So they will be blessed. Kasi ang may-ari lang ang sa lupa ang maka-register sa sakyanan nyo na pwede kayong gumamit sa daan. Huwag kayong mag-alala dito sa China na utang sa Pilipinas. Kasi kung si President Federal elect Marcos will embrace sovereignty, ang utang ng Pilipinas redeem na rin. Itong Iligan, redeem na ito. Legitimately, legally, na-redeem na ang Iligan. Iligan is being bankrupt. Sila lahat, government agency, local government agency na nandito sa City of Salvation cannot borrow against anything as they don't own and possess land rights. Kaya yung National Power Corporation na gusto ni Celso Regencia na i-recognize yung lumang batas ng ilaw, hindi pwede. Mga kapatid ko dito sa Dakbayan, Iligan, I got good news for you. As I am now ruling this city one step at a time, I'm waiting just for the elements to come down and clean up the old system. Na itong ilaw sa Dakbayan sa Iligan, it will be just practically free. In a later time, kung kailangan man, kasi maging kooperatiba ito, pag once this come under the Ministry on Energy, Ministry on Energy Affairs, ang ilaw ninyo dito sa Dakbayan sa Iligan, libre. Libre ang electric natin. I promise you that. Tuol man magbugas. If the rice is a problem, definitely, it will not be a problem anymore. Kung wala kayong sweldo, dahil all accounts of the local government agencies is all on hold. Naka-on hold yan. You can talk to the Commission on Audit. The city is being audited right now with a fine-tooth comb. Kaya, jurisdiction ang importante. Kasi ahinsya lang sila. Yun ang gusto kong iparating sa ating bayan before this program would end. Electricity will eventually be free. Water will be free. We have all the money we need to rebuild this city. This city can only be rebuilt kung cleaning. There is a big one coming very soon. The elements is cleansing this city. Nakatakda, nakasulat kasi yan sa scripture eh. Dahil sa kasalanan ng tao. Kaya habang buhay pa kayo, I would suggest you folks to reconcile, reconsider to embrace sovereignty, medyo magpa-register na kayo so that you can be a part of the Sovereign Republic of the Philippines. Or kung meron naman kayo, kung vaksinado naman kayo, di empleyado na lang namin kayo. Empleyado meaning to say, slave, bayaran. Ito na lang kamo. Pwede man mi manawat man mi mga ulipon. Kay dili man mo magpa uduyog sa pagpanilbi sa God and country. Di man mo gusto mahimong subject. So, it's fine. Ang kailangan lang natin dito, respect na lang tayo. Let's respect. Back to the studio. Paidikay.
Thank you so much, the Majesty. And since we're almost running out of time to end up na lang siguro, Majesty, is it okay?
Yeah, I think we better now get into our extra. Ipa-extra muna ang ating mga guests, their final statement sa ating guests. Then to Sheriff and to you, I think I already said mine.
Okay. So thank you so much. Ambassador Harun, your parting message, please.
Yeah. I'm ready to go to Philippines anytime.
Wow. You are much welcome.
As for me, yeah. Only thing I wait for that document for me to submit it to go to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, to Putrajaya. So from there, and I will travel to Philippines to meet up with Her Majesty in the castle.
Sounds good. You have to pass through Sabah. You have to pass through Sabah. Then from Sabah, you already write down Mindanao. Perhaps I will meet you there in Zamboanga. If you're gonna be in Sabah, the best thing I can do after you go met with the Prime Minister in Malaysia, I may meet you in Sabah, and from Sabah we can travel back here in the mainland, Mindanao.
Okay, will do. So I need to get a tentative. When do you think that you will be in Sabah? So I can also make my own arrangement to meet up with you in Sabah.
Sounds good.
That would be good. Yep. Okay, will do.
You have a good day.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so
Same
much.
Okay. Next,
Thank you so much, Ambassador Harun. Yes, Major Ronnie, your parting message, please. Kindly unmute your microphone, Major Ronnie.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to. Okay.
Good afternoon once again. Thank you, Majesty, sa living word nga mong na paminawan karon. Hope nga everyone nga naminaw, tanan nga naminaw, inyo tong matuhop o share po niyo sa uban. Sa mga sovereign patriots, praying atog yung i-shares ngadto sa uban. Di lang kanato ngadto sa uban para magkamatapod sila. Wala siguro. Thank you, Her Royal Majesty, at saka sa mga kasamahan, sovereign patriots. Naman po.
Thank you very much. And say hello to everyone.
Yes, Wednesday. Ganted.
Okay, thank you so much, Major Ronnie. And also to your Dato Bayan Lozano, your parting message, please.
Okay, so thank you, Videx. Good afternoon, Majesty, no? Pusad, o sa tanan. So, salamat po kaayo sa maong mga mensahe nga ato ang dungog, no? Nadungog karon. So, ingon man sab sa gi-consulti na ni Major Ronnie nga ato ni siya i-share. So, salute ko aning Sir Ronnie kay particularly siya maka-share no sa group chat sa ato ang FB page nga sa kay Sheriff Fanny sa mong mga ipang-explain kay kanina, very informative po kaayo. So, dako ni siya kay katabang no as to information dissemination kay sa ato nang gika na tan-aw nga ang mga katawhan daw nalilungan jud sa tinuod, no? Tinuod nga kasayuran, no? So thank you so much. O ako ang panginaot nga unta kini ko ang connection pod nga dili gid ma-distract kay mostly arita magproblema pod sa connection in terms of proper kanang natay mga discussion, sayang man pod kayo ang time kung ma-distract ta. So that's all. Back
Thank
to
you very
Valdix.
much.
Thank you
Thank
kaayo, Dr. Glenn, our
Nice to have
chief
you
queen.
with us this afternoon. Back to you, Baidikay.
Okay, Sheriff Fanny, your parting message please before we end up this session. Thank you.
Okay, salamat ba Idikay. So based sa atong mga discussion karon, I want to make a parang summary. So as explained by the HRMajesty that ang pag-sovereignty na, kaluwasan na, wala na tay kasakit, it will wipe out our tears because under the rule of law and rules of court kita. So, ang three departments sa interim republic, the legislative, humana, by enacted law, RA 8371, all we have to do is self-govern, self-empower, and be self-determined. So, as to the executive department, Office of the President, through the commission agency in CIP, humana, nahirelinkish na ang sinabi doon that the HRMajesty has complied all the requirements that he owns the native title. As to the judiciary, the Supreme Court has relinquished all rights and reserves to the highest tribunal, Supreme Court, the land of infinitum, to Her Royal Highness, Queen Salvacion Legaspi, Espiritu Santo, ang Diyos nga inahan. Kaya, akong ipabutyag kaninyo nga ang kaluwasan naa sa sovereignty. So, atong sabton o atong yun ikinabuhi nga ang kaluwasan naa sa sovereignty, dili sa korporasyon. So, dagang salamat and back to you, Baidikay.
Thank you very much
Yes, Your
to
Majesty.
Fanny. Sheriff Fanny. Go ahead, Baidikay. Okay,
Okay,
I will do
so
my
thank you.
parting. Maraming sa inyong lahat. This is our day. This is our year. This is our time that the motherland finally had rain. We don't need permission to anyone. As I have always said, this is the self-governance, self-determination. The sovereign crown had declared to rule in this city. So I let the elements take care of everything. The earth, wind, fire, and water, and all the military are called to defend sovereignty, the motherland. Everybody is summoned, including the element, to start to clean this city. God commanded me to do and say. Back to the studio. Bye, Idikay.
Thank you so much, the Majesty. Before we end up, I would like to say hello and happy listening also to Sir Roboy Alcontin. They're just listening right now, Majesty. So hello, and we're about to end now. So thank you so much, the Majesty. Of course, Queen Salvacion Legaspi, Espiritu Santo. Of course, to you, King Salvador Hans, and Bayan Michelle sa ato ang technical department. Thank you so much with Sir King Guevara. Thank you. Sheriff Manny, thank you. Dr. Glenn, thank you. Major Ronnie, and also Ambassador Haron, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you sa tanan nga naminaw 93.5 FM Soberenya ng Inang Bayan diri sa Iligan. Bye-bye and see you next time. God bless us all always. Bye. Back to you, Michelle. Bye, Michelle.
Maraming salamat po sa walang sawang pagtangkilik at pagsuporta sa The Filipino Times featuring the Divine Legitimate Government, Kingdom Filipina Hacienda, the Sovereign Host Nation. Kami po ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa walang sawang pagsubaybay sa aming mga programa sa pagsiwalat ng katotohanan. Nawa po tayo po ay magkaisa para po sa isang layunin upang maitaguyod ang Inang Bayan bilang isang makatao, makadiyos, makabansa at makakalikasan, malaya at nagkakaisa. Maraming salamat po.